if you see the letters, I'm starting section B, okay? If you see the letters GTTP, it's not because I meant to say HTTP and I got confused. GTTP stands for get to the point. Get to the point. Not gamer text transfer protocol or something like that, okay? So, yeah, okay. All the different things at GTTP. Now, what did I mean? You have a look at the section I've highlighted, right? And probably most of you have at least 1 or 2 or 10 to 15 of these, okay? In your extended response, okay? You don't have that much space and you don't have that much time. Now, I know it was a long exam, okay? But often you're sort of your own worst enemy. You know when you're in a maths exam and you pick out a method for solving a question, but it's not a good method. It's a slow method. Slows you down, and then at the end of the exam, you're like, man, I was in section E, and I didn't get anything done. It's not because the exam was too long. It's because you slowed yourself down at the beginning, right? So by putting things wrongly. So commonly, let me go to section B, and I'll pick an example. Commonly, what you'll do is you'll start writing your answer a bit like an essay. And essays have, well, what are the 3 parts of an essay, guys? Introduction, body, conclusion, right? That's the main way an essay works. And if you didn't have an introduction, your marker would say, where's the introduction? Because you can't just leap into, here's my text and here's my techniques and blah, 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 right? But these are not essays, okay? So for instance, this is just the first one that jumps to mind. Turn to page 9. Let's have a look at 22, part C. I know I'm skipping ahead, but this is just an easy example, okay? The question says, as with all feature films, Iron Man 3 could only be produced because there was a team of hundreds of people working behind the scenes to construct and refine the finished product that made it to cinema screens. Now, I'm putting that in there to give you a bit of context, right? So that you don't get the actual question in a vacuum. And I connect it to the real content you got there. So it says, describe 2 kinds of jobs specifically related to the production of multimedia components in Iron Man 3. Now, some of you might actually be staring at it right now, circled on your page. You might have started off your answer with 1 or 2 sentences even that says, Iron Man 3 was produced with many jobs specifically related to the production of multimedia components, right? These jobs include, now, okay, let's think about that, right? You've just wasted 30 seconds writing that, and not only is it not actually contributing to your answer or demonstrating any understanding, but what you wrote, it's in the question, right? So a lot of your questions, your answers, it's kind of, okay, great, they've let me know that they've read the question. Yes, I'm really pleased, but you're sort of wasting time. Okay, so that's what GTTP means, and some of you are more copious with making that error than others. The key, what I'd get you to write down in your own thoughts and response, review, feedback, is that this is extended answer. It's not an essay. Even the longest answers, like 6 marks, it's extended answer. You just jump straight into your answer. Don't give an introduction, okay? Start saying things which I can look at and say, this person demonstrates understanding of this, that, the other, okay? Okay, number 2. So the first thing, get straight to the point. Number 2, please always aim to be specific in your answers. So a lot of the times, I'll say specific question mark, or I'll say it's too vague, right? Here's what I mean. When you answer a question, you need to provide solutions and details that relate closely to the given technology or the given scenario, okay? So your answer needs to specifically relate. Ask yourself this question, right? Could my answer, the answer I've given, could it easily relate to some other situation, some other random disconnected situation? Or is it well integrated into this particular question, right? I'll give you an example. If I ask you, okay, give me a disadvantage. Outline the disadvantages for using this system in this situation, right? And you've been given an article or a situation, right? You might say, as a disadvantage, right? You might say computers could break down, which is true. Computers can break down, right? But that answer in itself, it could relate to anything. You could say that for any sort of, it's very general, it's very vague. It doesn't demonstrate that you understand anything about this question, right? It's just sort of a canned response. You can just pull it out. It's kind of like when someone sends you a text response and it's just like, okay, or lol, or, something meaningless, which is like, well, you could have said that for anything, right? It doesn't show you're actually listening to me. It's a bit like the equivalent of when you're talking to someone and they're like, yeah, oh, okay, yeah. Now, all of those sounds, right, they don't demonstrate that you're listening to someone at all. It's just the sounds that we make when we don't know what else to say, right? So it might be valid, but if it doesn't demonstrate understanding by being specific, then I can't reward it, right? Okay, number 1, get to the point. Number 2, be specific. Number 3, okay. Now, please take this the way that sports players in a team take feedback from their coach and they don't perform that well in a game, okay? It's not that the coach is like, oh, I'm so angry at you. I don't like you people. You disappoint me, that kind of thing, right? I'm just trying to help you for next time. So that's why I'm giving you very specific critical feedback, right? Now, this was an open book test. Open book. It was open book, right? Now that means that the scores for multi-choice really should have been much better than they were. Let me just check, I've got it here. Our average for multi-choice, our average score out of 20 was, let me pull it up. Out of 20, our average score was 12.6. 12.6, okay? Multi-choice, they're kinds of the questions which are difficult for me to pose in a thinky sort of way. They tend to be, okay, look, here's a piece of information you already know, right? Like you just have to identify which is the right one, and it's in your textbook or in your notes, right? If you've done all of the classwork, okay? So there's that. No excuses, right? You need to know your content better. And lastly, okay, lastly, is this my last piece of general feedback? I think it is. Okay, put this in big red writing if you've got a red pen there, okay? In this course, in IPT, right, you can never simply say computer. Computer, the word computer, right? Don't use it in this course, ever, okay? Here's why. Every piece of hardware that you've ever studied, right, has some kind of computational power, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't really study it. It's got inbuilt microprocessors. So everything in a way is a computer. So you can't say this computer on my wrist, or this computer which is a mainframe, or this computer which is a server, or whatever. You guys know enough to be able to distinguish between them, okay? And I saw this coming up again and again and again. People would say computer this, computer that. You need to be able to be specific enough for me to say, oh, okay, I see you know what kind of a computer it is, right? Other courses, maybe you can get away with it. IPT, no. You guys know there are hundreds of different kinds of computers, okay? So be specific. Are there any other general questions or any other pointers on sort of like acronyms that I've written which people don't understand? Yeah.
So what's your third point?
Okay, I think my points were get to the point quickly. Make sure your answers are, specifically related? Yeah, specifically related to the situation. Thirdly, because it's an open book test, right? And in some ways, well, no. The open book, this test that we're going through was open book, right? No excuse, right? I don't know, how much did you refer to your books during the test? A lot? Not much? Seems kind of mixed, okay? I'll give you a quick example. When I get to it in a minute, there was a data flow diagram, okay? A data flow diagram. A data flow diagram? Now, if you drew an arrow, right, and it's like, the package goes this way, and then the plane goes this way, and then the people go over there, right? They're not data. So that's not a data flow diagram. That's like a thing, object, item flow diagram. That's a textbook issue, right? If you don't, that's kind of like a, look, it's an open book test, should have known, okay? So that was my third point. Okay.